On this week's episode, is a deal for Antoine Semenyo too good to miss for Manchester United? We analyse Casemiro's resurrection, who's the ideal replacement for the injured Sesko, and there are more questions answered in the Gummers Mailbag. All of this and much more on Fergie's Gum, a Manchester United podcast. Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine and I'm joined, as always, by the bobble hat sporting Mr. Paul Cropper. How you doing, mate? Is it cold there?
Man, it's brassic here, mate. Absolutely. I got my hands around my cup. Look at that. I'm freezing. Bobby hat on. Gone United. Code. How are you? All right.
I'm good, mate. It's 26 degrees here, so yeah, it's nice and warm. Nice and warm, mate.
Yeah. You just made me put a big light on as well, haven't you, mate? It's a big light on at this time of morning. So,
I mean, I just want to see your face. Plus, it does make it look like you're in a hostage situation when that light is off. So blink twice to say that you're in undress. So I just wanted to make sure that you were there, mate. So apologies, but it does look better.
The camera does me no favours, doesn't it? This camera. It looks like a potato.
It's all right,
filming it on
it's
a potato.
Right.
We do our best though, don't we?
Fans love it. Fans love it, mate.
Do our best with what we've got.
Exactly. I've been saying that to myself for the past 44 years. Right. Okay. So we'll jump straight into it then. There's obviously been no football from Manchester United recently, but a lot of our players have been out on international duty. But that's not where we're going to start today. I'm going to start with the fact that Antoine Semenyo, the Bournemouth wing-back who's been absolutely electric this season, there's confirmation that apparently he's available for £65 million, according to David Ornstein and Alex Crook, two football journalists that know their onions. That price apparently goes down in the summer, so Bournemouth would have to take something in the region of like 50 million. And it's obviously the obvious links are with Manchester United, are with Liverpool as well, although I don't think they need him. What do you make of this? Do you think it's something that Manchester United just can't resist at the moment? Because I know there's been reports that they won't overspend this winter on any players. But if this is an opportunity to get a left wing back like Semenyo, do they go for it?
Interesting you said left wing back there. He's not a left wing back, is he? But he probably could do a job at left wing back.
It's where he'll be playing for Manchester United, I'll say that now.
Well, the thing is with a player of that ability, he's probably worth double, isn't he? When they say they're not overspending, if you're saving that amount of money and you're getting a player that's already Premier League proven, he's dominating the Premier League with the power, pace, ability that he's got, I don't think you can turn that price down. It would have been something that he would have negotiated with when he signed a new contract, wouldn't it? And interesting, I've just reading this morning, it's 55 million plus add-ons, or 60 million plus 60 million plus 5 million add-ons is the agreement, but that's only available in the first couple of weeks in the window to allow Bournemouth to the opportunity to replace him, and then that drops down to no less than 50 million in the summer. Somebody's going to snap him up in January, because also he's not away for the AFCON, which is a big deal because Ghana didn't make it. So I don't think United can turn down that opportunity to sign someone like that at that price. But
I think
other teams, like you said, will be in there as well. Everybody else is going to look at that exactly the same way.
But I think it solves a problem. I know we're talking about the fact that he isn't a left wing back. I think down that left side is where we've had most of the problems. We have focused most of the attacks down the right with Mbumo and Ahmad linking up nicely down the right flank. Both of those guys are going to be off to the AFCON. Semenyo, as you mentioned there, Ghana didn't make it, so he's not going to be going. But we need an outlet down that left-hand side. Patrick Dorgu scored for Denmark in their defeat to Scotland last night. It was a tidy little finish, and I would prefer to see him play from the off more often. I don't think we need to keep trying Dalot at left wing back. I think Dorgu needs to settle into that role. But when you're looking at the dynamism down that left-hand side. Cunha's got it, but then he's not Semenyo, is he? He's not gonna frighten the defenders with his pace. He'll be brilliant at linking up down that side, but he's not going to frighten defenders with that pace. So I think if there's an opportunity, United have definitely got to look at it. Definitely.
Yeah, he's terrifying as a player, isn't he? He terrifies defenders, and he's got everything you'd need. It reminds me of, I don't know if people have seen it, Rafael Leao, when he was coming through. It's a very similar player, and he plays as an out-and-out winger, but I think Semenyo's probably got more about him going the other way as well. So he can definitely do a job there. I'm not sure how many goals he's got this season, but I know he started the season on fire, played well at Liverpool. That performance he had at Anfield would have made everybody go, wow. Even Spurs were linked with him, weren't they? Maybe we've missed out here. I get the feeling in the window with United, it was once we changed to Mbeumo, I thought it was going to be one or the other. If you can get both of them in your starting 11, that's frightening. Yeah, what a player. Get him in. Do it.
I think during the summer as well, Manchester United were linked to Semenyo, and I think they investigated it. And at the time, it must have been before the release clause was put in there or before it was active, but they were talking prices of around 80 million that they wanted for him. And I think United were like, no chance. Obviously, he started the season at a canter, and you're like, well, that 80 million might have been perfect to pay for that type of player. He's definitely one to watch, I think, this window. Bournemouth have accepted, it seems, that they will part ways with him. They're already looking up contingency plans to try and find a replacement for Semenyo. So if it's not United, it could be someone else. It could be someone on the continent. Someone might come in. One of the Spanish teams might come in and go, this is just an opportunity that we need to take up. But I think he'd stay in the Premier League. And I think probably Manchester United have the best chance if they've got the money on a credit card, on Big Jim's credit card. If they've got it somewhere, then they need to do it. Definitely. This isn't a player that you can miss out on. Like, I understand United won't go after the likes of Carlos Baleba right now because obviously that price will still stay, who was hooked at half-time again while on international duty for Cameroon as they crashed out of the World Cup. I've got my doubts about that lad. And then also Elliot Anderson at Nottingham Forest. Again, looking at 80, 100 million for him. I don't think they're going to make that splurge yet because there's no guarantee of European football yet. But I think they can make that purchase on Semenyo, on other players that are underneath that fee, and still be okay for next season in terms of their financials as well. So yeah, I could see it happening. But one other name that I wanted to bring up as well, because he was out here, he was in Dubai staying at the hotel where we broadcast from on a Monday. João Gomez has been mentioned. So as I was saying before, Baleba, Elliot Anderson, not going to happen during the January window, but apparently 44 million, and this is a report that's coming out of the Portuguese press, 44 million in Jan will take João Gomez from Wolves to Manchester United. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know a lot about him because I don't. Have you watched enough of him to suggest that he's the right man for Manchester United's midfield?
I've seen enough of him to know he's better than some that we've got there. Yeah, he's a six, but a ball playing six. Comfy on the ball. I think I said a few months ago when we did the transfer window that Wolves they've got two tidy centre midfielders in there, and I thought they were good enough anyway. They've always seemed to bring along these centre midfielders that are very similar in stature. He is, because he played in the Premier League, you could say if you got rid of Ugarte, he would step in there and he would be able to start every game. Good enough. Good price. Is it a good price? It's probably the right price for him. Probably the right price for a centre midfielder that can start in the Premier League. He's an upgrade and he would be comfortable in the six. Yeah. So if you're thinking Casemiro can't do 90 minutes, he could do 60 and then you can bring Casemiro on for the last 30. It'd be a smart signing. Is that the way we're going with Ineos? Smart signings at decent prices? Hopefully. But for me, João Gomez, I don't see why not. Like you said, the Anderson one, the Water one, the Belieber one, they're never going to happen in January. They're just not going to happen. So you have to look at other players that are good squad players that you're going to get at a decent price that are available to, because Wolves are probably going to go down. They're struggling. So if you can get them in at that price, I'm all for that signing. Definitely. If you could do them 2 signings in January, that gives the squad and the club a big boost.
It's 109 million that would be the initial outlay for that, which in January is a lot of money. But I think City did similar, didn't they, last year when they needed strengthening, and they did what was necessary to bring those players in. João Gomez is an interesting one because I've heard, and not to pretend that I'm in the know, but apparently he is one of the targets genuinely fancied by Manchester United, as opposed to certain other targets that are on there. I can't name names because I'm under confidentiality, but there's some players you named 3 there, but there's one of them that has been linked for a long time. Even it's been mentioned recently as well, like in the press, and he isn't a target. He's not a target, and I know that for a fact. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not Manchester United do make any moves in the January transfer window. I think they have to. And we're going to talk about the international roundup in a second, but when you're talking about João Gomez coming in and being an upgrade on someone like Ugarte played the other night for Uruguay and again was getting dusted by like MLS players. He's not good enough. He's not good enough for Ugarte, and I don't think he's ever going to come good at Manchester United. I can see him getting a move. Probably not in January. I think we'll need all the bodies that we can have until the end of the season. But I think Ugarte will probably be moved on in the summer. But let's keep an eye on that one, and we'll see what works out. But after this break, actually, before we even go to that, got a little clip from Ahmad, who has his say on Antoine Semenyo and whether or not he fancies him at Manchester United.
What's up, boys? Hope you're well. Unfortunately, couldn't make it on the pod today, but yeah, I'm gonna give my thoughts on the Antoine Semenyo situation very briefly. So first of all, I'm sure you guys agree, I think he would be an amazing signing. I think he ticks a lot of boxes. First of all, which is the most important thing for me, is that he has Premier League experience. We saw with Bournemouth and Konya how much that has a role to play in our signings. So I think first off, that's very important. And second of all, I think he would be amazing for the system. Personally, I would bring him in to play in the left wing back role. I know it's not ideal. You're getting a superstar, a player who's been scoring goals for fun, and he's playing up top, and you want to play him in a wing back position. But I think in this system, if people actually look and they actually watch games, you can see that Amram gives these wide players a lot of freedom. And Dorgo and Ahmad always find themselves in positions to score. And actually, I think he would have even more space and more chances to score if he plays in that position because of how the system is. And I think he's amazing in terms of versatility. So he would be able to play left wing back, even right wing back, and of course, any of the positions up front. So yeah, I think he would be amazing, especially for that release clause, £65 million. That's amazing value for money. You would not be able to get a player of that quality with those attributes, Premier League experience, and these things for that money. So yeah, it's basically like Cunha and Buemo. I think he would be in the same mold. Good price, perfect age as well. He's gonna turn 26 in January, so yeah, he's gonna be getting into his prime. Yeah, so I think he would be amazing, but unfortunately, I can't see it happening. I think all the top English clubs are gonna be after him. I think he would be leaning most towards Liverpool, and I think they would make it happen because he would come in, and I think he would be Salah's replacements. So I hope it happens. I mean, I think it would be good for his career because United are in a good trajectory, and I think in the system he would be amazing. So yeah, let's see what happens.
So the international break is almost at a close, and Paul just described it there as boring. I've got to agree, mate. I'm not a massive fan. When England have kind of cruised through, scoring, I think it was 22 goals without conceding. It's a formality just going through that group. It's not that much fun. But there have been certain boys from Manchester United that have been out on international duty, and I thought it was worth just having a little chat about their performances, really, from different angles. So Ugarte, as I mentioned before the break, was just had a really patchy couple of games for Uruguay, and he's one of those players that I'm every game that goes by, whether it's for Manchester United, whether it's for Uruguay, I'm getting less and less convinced by him, and I think he'll be one of those players that will be shipped on in the summer. Just think he's stealing a living at Manchester United. One person that could be moving on as well, but is still proving that he is instrumental for club and country, is Bruno Fernandes. He sat out the 2-0 loss to Republic of Ireland at the Aviva Stadium, where Ronaldo got sent off for being a petulant child. But he came back into the team against Armenia, who, let's be honest, Portugal were expected to beat them, but they won. Was it 9-1 that they beat?
Yeah.
Bagged a hat trick. Yeah, bagged a hat trick. A couple of those were penalties, I think.
Penalty, yeah, two penalties, yeah.
And I think he got an assist as well, if my memory serves me correct. But the interesting part for me wasn't just the fact that he scored the goals and he beat up some smaller team. It was more that I felt this was a reminder to Ruben Amorim about where his best position is, and I think he played off the right, as right winger almost, like further up the pitch as a front three. Obviously, Portugal have a much better midfield of Vitinha, Neves, and who's the other lad that plays there? Is it Neto? It's not Neto. Someone else.
No, Neto be on wing.
Yeah, but they got a fantastic midfield behind him. But do you think these performances for you, for Ruben Amorim, it just says like, come on, we've got to put him further up the pitch. We're not going to get the best out of him back here. Or do you think that we should still persist with him in that position?
No, it's not his best position. We mentioned last week how we're just constantly playing players out of position. If you can push Bruno further up, you get so much more. But we just haven't got the cover in the two holding midfields. We've already spoke about it. When Ugarte and Manu get the chance, they don't produce, do they? So you have to play Bruno there because we have got other options going forward. We'll see what happens in the AFCON break when there's a few players missing, because the options are there for Ruben to maybe push Bruno further forward, where he's obviously more comfortable. He doesn't give the ball away as much because he's not trying 40, 50 yard sprays, and he produces, doesn't he? And he's one of the most creative players in Europe. So if you push him further forward, he's going to cause havoc. Let's see.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that came out of this international break as well was the importance of Casemiro. Carlo Ancelotti, who's now in charge of the Seleccio, says that he's their most important player. And his return back to form has been quite incredible. I think for United fans, it's kind of gone under the radar a little bit because we just want him to run. So we're seeing the same player over and over again. But the tidiness that he's providing and the safety, the linchpin of that midfield, I think has kind of gone unnoticed from a lot of us that watch Manchester United week in, week out. The only time that you can tell just how important he is, as we just said before, is when Cass goes off and Ugarte comes on to replace him, and the standards just drop massively. They're constantly chasing shadows, and it's not to do with Casemiro's pace and tracking back is to do with his positioning and his ability to distribute the ball. And he's become that kind of metronome in midfield that Carrick obviously was for the longest time for Manchester United. And it just made me think that, I know we talk about getting the legs alongside Bruno in that midfield, a six like a Belieber or an Elliot Anderson. But are we looking at it wrong? Should it be legs next to Casemiro so that Bruno can be moved further forward? I was just thinking about it when I was watching the highlights of Brazil, and I just thought, do you know what? It's probably the other way around. I think it could be Casemiro that needs legs next to him.
Yeah, well, he does need help in there, doesn't he? But how long is Casemiro going to be at Old Trafford for? I think that's something we have to think about. Has he got 6 months, 18 months left in him? We need to look at replacing him now, but also that player can play alongside him for the next 12 to 18 months, however long it is. He needs help because he seems to get abandoned in there, doesn't he? And he's being asked to do the job of 2 players. Nobody can do the job of 2 players, especially when you're that age, at this level. So I know he's had a resurgence in form. He's probably learned the position. I know he knows the 6, but I don't think he's ever played in the double pivot with a 3 at the back, has he? So he's probably clever enough and more experienced enough to know where he should be able to listen to the instructions of the manager. Whereas these younger players, less experienced, are probably struggling to adapt. So he's probably adapted his game a bit more. With Casemiro, I think it was a lot of how he dives in. He's reckless. I think that was a lot of things that I was getting frustrated at, because when you are on your own in there, he does feel like, I'm the last player here that can actually do something. So he's not afraid to put his foot in, and he probably has definitely lost a couple of yards of pace. So that's why he's late into the tackle as well. But you can't say he's not one of the most informed players at Old Trafford at the minute. Yeah, done very well.
I think the big question that you just raised there is whether or not he'll be here next season. I think by the reports and the rumours that are going around the club, I think United would like to keep him. I think it would have to be on reduced terms. And I think it's more to do with how influential he is around the place. You look at, Erik ten Hag loved him as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not like and Van Nistelrooy brought him straight back into the team. You remember he had that really bad form? And I think where Ten Hag dropped him for a few games, and it was like, oh, his legs are gone. And there was that famous quote from Jamie Carragher saying about leave the game before the game leaves you type of thing. Back in 2024, I think that was. And he's now, he's back in that team because he can still do a job. But I think it's more to do with the succession plan. He's not the long-term player. He's not starting in the Champions League for Manchester United next season if they were to get there. But if you can negotiate with him to stay at the club, still provide 60 minutes, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is, provide that, calm things down as a sub from the bench, I think you have to take that on. Because I think United could make a big mistake by getting rid of a lot of influential players at the same time. Same with Bruno. You get rid of Bruno, you get rid of Maguire, you get rid of Casemiro, as we were all calling for not long ago. And then you take out the heart of that team, and it's going to be difficult to build that up again. So I think Casemiro could be one that sticks around with an Anderson, with Belieber as potentially a successor for him. So we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Another player that we can basically just say that he's back to his form now. De Ligt, back in the Netherlands side, played a full 90 minutes against Lithuania. I think they won 4-0. He's getting his mojo back for club and country. Do you know the last time he played 90 minutes in a competitive fixture for the Netherlands? November 2024.
Really?
He's just not been fancied at all by Koeman. But he played alongside Virgil van Dijk in that Lithuania win. And again, it's another player. All 3 of these players, even Bruno, he's been doing well. Casemiro's doing well. De Ligt, he's in the form of his life for Manchester United right now. And I know he's still got levels to go, but he's just tidy all the way through. Yeah. And I think he's earned that. So it's good to see, right? After all those injuries, it's good to see him back in there.
Well, because we spoke about De Ligt before, and when he was in the Ajax team, when he came through, and he was going around Europe as this is the next big defender. You need to get him in, and then he got to Juve, and then he struggled a little bit. Probably like what the defenders Juve had there at the time, the likes of Bonucci and Chiellini. You think you're probably learning his trade from it. There's worse place to learn your trade from than the Italian defenders, isn't there? And then he made the move to Bayern Munich. Seemed to struggle there again. And then you're thinking, when we signed him, he kind of like, it's a strange one, but yeah, let's see where it goes. But I love him absolutely. He's only 26, Nathan. He's only it feels like he's been around for years. Yeah, well, he has been around for years because he was in that team at 18, 19, wasn't it? So hopefully he's comfortable now. He's found a home where he's not. No, I'm happy here now. I'm starting most games because he does, and he quite rightly should be. We said last week, probably future captain, Nathan. Yeah, love him.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, and I think, as I said right at the beginning of this bit talking about De Ligt, I feel like he's got another level to go as well. I feel like he's doing what's necessary around him, but he's not got a settled centre back pairing or triumvirate. He hasn't got those players around him. Once that becomes more settled, I think you'll see him improve even more. But I can't fault him for what he's been doing at the moment. And yeah, he's been our most consistent defender. Easily.
Centre
I'll just rattle.
Sorry,
go on.
I was just going to say, centre halves, they're probably not hit the peak at 30, 31. That's probably where they're at the best. So he's got, like you say, he definitely has got levels to go to, and he's already playing at a high level. So yeah, keep going, mate.
Yeah. The last few that I wanted to talk about, just I'll rattle these off. Senne Lammens made his debut for the Belgian team. I think it was his first game. I think he has played before for them. I might be wrong. I think he has had a cap before, but he started in the game and kept a clean sheet for Belgium, which was always good. Again, another player that seems to be handling the pressure and rising stardom on and off the pitch. Like, he's taking it in his stride. And I'm so happy that we've got Lammens. He'll go and cock it up against Everton now, but he's it's good to see that he's working really well. And then I mentioned it in the previous segment. Dorgu scored against Scotland. I think they were down to 10 men at that point when he did score.
Yeah,
and he still found himself in the box, and that is what we won from Patrick Dorgu. I spoke last week about him being like he's won the most duels for Manchester United with, I think he was 69 or something like that. But now we need him to have that end product, because Ruben Amorim's system will only work when you've got someone that's functioning on both sides. If Ahmad's chipping in with goals and assists, you have to have it on the other side as well. And Dorgu needs to start to be able to do that, what he's doing for Denmark. Because he was in the box, He's had a few times when he's been in the box and it was a cool finish as well, past Craig Gordon. But one of the differences between when he's playing for Denmark, or what I noticed last night, and when he's playing for Manchester United, he's snatching at things. He's getting towards the 18-yard box and he's throwing in across to no one, or he's taking a shot that's just, he's got no chance of going anywhere. It's just from a weird angle and like first time. Surely that's to do with the coaching that Ruben Amorim's giving him, but if we can get him ticking, I think we'll be all right down that left-hand flank. I know we talked about it last week, but this season specifically, he needs to be the first player at that left wing-back position, unless Semenyo comes in, obviously. And then I wanted to give a special mention to Sesko Kone, who's back from that fractured orbital injury. He's back playing for the under-23s, Mali's under-23s. And he grabbed a couple of goals in the last game that he played. Nice finishes as well. I don't know if you've seen them. Inside the 18-yard box. Low. His second one specifically, as he's running on and the goalkeeper's coming out, just a little toe poke underneath him. He's starting to look the part. And I wanted to ask you, actually, finishing with Kone, do you think he's got a chance during the AFCON? I can't see him being a Mali in the AFCON. That's a good question, actually. Mali are in the AFCON, but I can't see him, because he's only playing for the under-23s now, can't see him being in the first team. Do you think he's got a chance during AFCON?
Yeah, no, I would say no. I just think there's other players ahead of him that would probably come in. So probably going to discuss what happens during the AFCON and how we start without Sesko as well and things like that. But no, I think there's other players ahead of him. I wouldn't brush him either. We just spoke about Dorgu there. That he's young, and if you throw another young kid in there, just give him a chance. Let him develop. Let him keep playing, especially after having such a bad injury and going off the way he did. I'd just give him time, Nathan. I wouldn't be in a rush to throw him in there, personally.
Right. Fair. That is fair. You did touch on it there. We are going to be talking about how United should line up during AFCON, but also without Sesko for the next 4 weeks. So let's have a little break here and then we'll talk about that. Benjamin Sesko, we talked about it last week, I think. He is injured. He hobbled off against... God, who was it against? Who did he hobble off against? Spurs.
Spurs,
After Mickey van der Ven teleported back into position to nip it away from him. And at the time, it was one of those like, could he have carried on? Is this an excuse because you didn't get the shot away? But no, he's out for a maximum of 4 weeks, apparently. There was reports that it was going to be a minimum of 4 weeks, but it looks like it's not as bad as they first feared. But this opens up an opportunity for Manchester United's fringe players now. Specifically, well, let's not say specifically. I want to get your thoughts on it. Who is the Benjamin Sesko replacement that should be stepping in against Everton this week?
There's a few ways you could go, really, and he's got a couple of options, the manager. It depends how he sees it. Xerxes is the obvious one. You just throw Xerxes in and play him in the 9. The other option he's got is he could put Cunha there. I believe our Boot and Boomer could both play there. But obviously, with the AFCON there, Cunha looked a little bit more uncomfortable against Spurs, didn't he? Playing in that option. But if you did do that, the option then is to bring in Mainu, play him a bit further forward, or push Bruno like you just discussed. Get more out of Bruno, push him forward, put Mainu into the 6. They're the options I can see. You've also got the option of putting Ahmad in the 10, putting Cunha higher up. I noticed against Spurs, I don't know if you know, we didn't mention it last week, Boomer played on the left of the 10. You noticed that? Which was strange, because you're thinking, oh, well, I've not seen that before. I don't know why. Maybe they saw a weakness in the Spurs team there. But going forward, I think they're the options he's got. Which is the best? Against Everton, first game, I'd probably push Bruno further forward myself and give Mainu a chance. That's where I'd go.
See, it's interesting actually, because I wrote down in my notes, like, when you look back at Ruben Amorim's like best 11s, they've always involved a striker, like an out and out striker. I know we've played the false 9 before and it's worked. I think, did Cunha start against Arsenal and he just missed like a few chances? Could have won that game in the opener.
Yes, should have won that game.
I think he started in that, and then so he has like games like that, and he has games where he can be really productive, but he can also have games where it looks like we need a striker. So against Spurs, he obviously saw that we weren't getting the best out of Cunha. He didn't have his best game at all. Sesko comes on. We looked immediately more dangerous with him on the pitch. Some lovely moves by Sesko before he did go off the pitch. But I don't think we can afford to keep trying this false 9 thing. And I know you're right. We can rotate the front 3 if Mount's fit. Bruno and Bumo, Cunha, Ahmad. You can have those players playing in those positions. But I think the best options for Ruben Amorim in his ideal 11 is to have a striker there. So I think it's the most obvious choice is, as you say, Xerxes. I'm not convinced, and this is probably unfair on him, I'm not convinced that he's the right person to be leading that line. And one of the, I know I say this all the time, and it sounds ridiculous to say it even of a professional footballer, but he can't shoot. He can't kick it hard. It's one of those weird things, like, we've all played football with people that can't they can't hit it with the laces. And it's always passing into the bottom corner or passing like around. I just don't. It doesn't always have to be a smasher, But that thing just living in the back of my brain, like he can't shoot properly or put his foot through the ball, it gives me the fear. It gives me the fear that I know he did score a couple of goals against Everton, didn't he, last season? I think it was.
Yeah, it's we're gonna find out what the manager thinks of him, aren't we, in the next month? Because if you're the backup striker and your main striker's just been injured, you're expecting Xerxes will be expecting to start the next few games. So I think if he doesn't, he'll go in January. I think it's going to go one or two ways. You're either going to get game time or you're gone, and the manager doesn't fancy you. So at least we'll find out, and he'll find out where he stands. We're probably being a bit harsh on Xerxes, aren't we? Because he's not really had enough opportunities to get a run of games to get into the. So hopefully he gets an opportunity, and his hold-up play is good enough to hold it. Because when we talk about Spurs, the Spurs game, we went more direct when Sesko comes on, and he can flick it on, he can hold it up, which Xerxes can do. So hopefully, because you can see him having a good relationship with Cunha, can't you?
Yeah.
Him holding it up, Cunha running off him and things like that. So it'd be interesting to know which way the manager goes. I just want Mainu to get a chance, especially in the next 4 or 5 weeks, and that's why I thought about that. But yeah, it's on the manager. Big decision.
I think more than anything, like even without Mainu in the side, and we'll talk about AFCON lineups in a second as well. But Xerxes is the number one option, and it would probably mean that Chido Obi would be back on the bench because we don't have any out and out strikers. Weirdly, it's probably the game that you would play Højlund in. Do you know what I mean? He'd be the striker that you bring in. He again scored in that defeat for Denmark against Scotland last night from the penalty spot after, well, he had a pedestrian game in that as well. But just a special mention, just before I go on in this, Scott McTominay's overhead kick. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, yeah.
Unreal. Yeah. Ten Hag never wanted to get rid of him. Let's just keep that on record. And I'm sure there were plenty of Man United fans that didn't want to get rid of him either. So, fair play to McTominay. He's doing fantastic over there. But anyway, I think it'll be Xerxes, and I think you're right. I'm looking at it from maybe a different point of view. I think I'm inclined to agree with you where we're talking about Xerxes' connections with Mbeumo, with Cunha. I think that's probably more important than anything, because from my point of view, what I was just saying there about him not being able to strike the ball, talking purely about his goal scoring threat, when really you want to be spreading the goals around as well. If he can link up that play between Mbeumo, between Bruno, between Mount, whoever's playing alongside him or near him, I think that's the best way to look at it. And you're right, he can link up well. And I think he might have an even better understanding than Sesko at this point, because Sesko wants to score goals, whereas Xerxes never been out-and-out goal scorer. He's been a link man. So maybe you're right. And I think, this is the game where he finds out, where we all find out, is he in the plans for the future, or is he going to be back to Serie A whenever we can offload him? But yeah, I do think Chido Obi will be back on the bench, because he's gone a bit weird with him as well. It's gone a bit weird. He had the pathway that was all set through him, and he was making appearances, and he was in the games. And then there was rumours that he'd had a bit of a falling out with management. He then changed his, as they all do when they're upset, he changed his social media handles to not have any Manchester United references on there. We can go back decades with stuff like this. Wayne Rooney did it, didn't he, back in the day? Nike athlete, let's not forget. So there's a weird thing with Chido Obi going on, but I would like to see him back on the bench. I'd like to see him being given as an option as well. But I don't know. I think that he probably will go with a front three and a false nine again. I hope he bloody doesn't. Anyway,
Chido Obi's not ready, Nathan.
I know. But then how does he get ready? Because we haven't got cup games for him to play in. We haven't got FA. FA Cup hasn't started yet. League Cup, we're out of that competition. We haven't got Europe. There's no ways that we can bring players through the system. So you have to do league games. If you want to get them up to speed, it's got to be league games, right?
I wouldn't mind him going out on loan in January, Chido Obi.
Ooh, big shout. I think when he came in, and there's a podcast clip probably from about a year ago where we were talking about the fact that Chido Obi was given assurances about his pathway to the first team from Ruben Amorim. Like he was saying, this is why we want him to stay, because there was a bit of doubt like where he was going to go. United did everything to get him through the door. I think Jason Wilcox was pretty instrumental in getting him into the team with a clear, direct pathway to how he was going to do it. Now that's going to be the responsibility of Johnny Evans, as we talked about last week. So maybe Johnny Evans decides that he stays at the club and that's the best place for him. But either way, the only experience you're going to get at Manchester United these days is by playing in league matches, because we haven't got anything else until after the new year. Moving a little bit on, it wasn't on the running order, but it's worth mentioning anyway, because we're talking about how we're going to cope without Sesko being in the team. But AFCON is just around the corner. We're, about 2 months away from it? And we've got 8 games within this period from that Everton game to January 1st, I think it is. Obviously, we're going to lose Mazraoui, we're going to lose Ahmad, we're going to lose Mbeumo. That's the entire right side that's going to be disappearing. How do you see United shaping up then down that right side? Who do you think is going to come in to plug those gaps? There's obviously going to be movement from around the squad anyway, but who do you think is going to be the ideal 3 down that right-hand side?
I don't think there is an ideal 3 then, is it, down that side? It tears a big hole in the starting 11 on it, and it just emphasises the lack of squad depth that we've got with this formation. I think if we were playing a 4-3-3, you could probably plug them gaps easier. I think we'll struggle. The Mazraoui one, I think you can probably cover his position quite comfortably enough with some of the defenders that we've got there. The Mbeumo and Ahmad one, it's devastating to United. I'm just trying to have a look at the games area we've got, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to see a drop-off anyway, unless we do strengthen in January, like you bring a Semenyo in, because that would help massively. What would I do? Because if you think with Mbeumo, his backup is Ahmad, isn't it? Ahmad will be pushed further forward. So if you lose the pair of them, you're looking
Well,
at
I mean,
Bruno going forward.
As I said before, Bruno was playing at the right side, further up the pitch. So he was playing in the Mbeumo position for Portugal in that victory over Armenia. It's not a stretch to suggest that he could play there for Manchester United, a bit further up the pitch. And then I think you would get your dream then of Kobbie Mainoo making it back into the team and playing alongside Casemiro in the centre, with one of those dropping out for Ugarte as time goes on. Maybe was it Jack Fletcher that was on the bench the other day?
Yeah. I know.
I think he'll continue to be on the bench, I think, in the absence of these AFCON players.
Do you think he'll go down the youth route? So the likes of Shea Lacey, Jim Thwaites might
He's going to have to. He's going to have to. I mean, this is the whole point about why we're talking about it right now. There has to be some sort of shape and some sort of contingency plan for why you do that. Now, the 2 options that he has, or 3 options, you either go with players that are currently in the squad that aren't good enough. So you got your Dalot, you got Ugarte, you got Mainoo. So you either go with that and risk missing out on Europe or whatever the target is for this season. You go into the transfer market and you look at getting João Gomez, and you look at getting Semenyo and someone else maybe. Or you do look to the youth system, and one of the big key factors about Amorim before he came in, and even while he's been there, according to reports, is how great he is with the youth team and encouraging them, and how he wants them to come through, but only at the time when it's right. And I think that third option, I think he's going to have to look at it, because if you think now, if we just do off the top of our heads down that right side, and Mbeumo's replaced with Bruno Fernandes, right wing back is replaced with Dalot, and then you've got your centre that's going to be replaced with Mainoo. I think that's the only way that you can do it. But then if you get an injury to Bruno, to Mainu to Casemiro to Dallo down that side, then yeah, you've got to be looking at the youth team to come through. But
Yeah,
again, are they ready? We don't know until they play. We do not know.
No, I was just looking up Mantato as well in youth team. He'd been playing that right wing back role, winger role, if you like. I'd love that lad, to be fair. He could definitely do a job there. When you say you're right in the 3 options you've got there, I think he'll possibly do a bit of all 3. If you know what I mean. We'll look to strengthen in January. He'll probably look to play Mainu, and he might bring the kids in as well. So a mixture of all 3. He's going to help us in the long run anyway, but also in this 8-week spell, 4-week spell, whenever it is. I'd like to see a mixture of all 3. Like you say, strengthen, play, give these lads the game time that they probably deserve to see whether they're going to be good enough, and then also give the kids 15, 20 minutes at the end of a game. And it's a perfect opportunity for it now.
Yeah. I think one of the other options will be Mason Mount playing at one of the wing back roles. And then you could move Dorgu over to the right hand side. You could keep Mason Mount on the left hand side, or you could swap those over as well. Dallo will probably play because he's not in the squad for no reason. I know he's been pretty poor of late, but he'll be someone that they need to rely upon for the rest of the season. So he'll need to step up as well. But it'll be interesting to see what will happen at AFCON. For me personally, out of those 3 options, I'd like to see them go into the transfer market. Obviously, it's nice to have a shiny new thing, and it's near Christmas, so we deserve a present as fans. So I think it'd be good to go back in there and just try to get Semenyo, João Gomez, anyone else that could fill out the squad there. Because the other thing as well is that they're not just players that it's not a Sabitzer. Do you know what I mean? It's not a Sofian Amrabat. It's players that you're going to keep for the long term. You've dipped into the market. They're going to improve the squad, and you're going to build on that next season in the summer with those players in mind. So that's what I would like to see. But what do you think? What do you think's most likely to happen?
I don't think it's any coincidence that we're now being linked, and the links are very strong with them too. I don't think there's any coincidence there at all. I would love Semenyo. I said it last week. He would be my first option. And then all the reports went wild. I was like, everyone's a gummer, aren't they? They all love it. All these press. Amount of people that copy us on here, Nathan.
It's embarrassing, mate. It's embarrassing.
Because the Premier League proven, mate, and that's the way that Ineos are going as well. It's 100 million, like you say. It shows that we're being a serious club. Just do that, and then it takes more pressure off the squad, more pressure off the kids, and then you can bring them in and just dip them in, dip them out. Instead of saying, right, Shea Lacey, we need a performance off you now in the Premier League because you might not be able to produce. The smart thing, reinforce your squad in January with players that are going to be in the first team squad in the long run. And if you can get them at that price, you do it. Get it done.
Next up for Manchester United, it is Everton at Old Trafford, Tuesday, 8 p.m. UK time. Over here,
Monday.
That is midnight. Is it Monday?
Oh,
it's Monday.
Monday.
Yes. So yeah, there you go. So there's why I was caught out, because it's Tuesday here, midnight.
So, right. Okay. Yeah.
I will not be staying up to watch Manchester United. I will catch the extended highlights in the morning with a cup of coffee. So yeah, that's how I'll be enjoying that game. This game against Everton, who are in 13th, only 3 points behind United in 7th. They've been a bit patchy as well of late. They've definitely got a threat down the flanks with Grealish and Ndiaye. But this has to be a game that Manchester United win, especially at Old Trafford, right?
You have to win this game. This is one of those games. I know Everton to be respected. I like a lot of the players, like you just mentioned, that Ndiaye. I think what a signing he's been for them. I think he will go on to a bigger, not being disrespectful to Everton, a big club, but he will go on to a top club, that lad. Every time I see him, he looks up there. Got to watch him because he will cause problems. But if you've got any serious ambitions about European football, you have to win this home game. If the atmosphere will be loud there again, it will be a big game. Yeah, go on United.
Are you going to the game?
I got offered tickets, but I turned it down. Monday night, it's no good for me. I normally play Monday nights, to be honest, but we're not doing that week because everybody wants to watch a game. But I was going to go. Do you know what? Getting to and from Old Trafford is an absolute nightmare, Nathan, at that time. My little one went to the, I know we're going off subject issue, went to the women's game, VPFG, and I had to set off at 4:30 to get there for an 8 o'clock kickoff because the traffic's horrible. And
for anyone that doesn't know, you're only about 25 minutes away from there, right?
literally, yeah. But it takes you over 2 hours on the motorway because Manchester traffic is awful. And we got home at 11:45 after it. It's ridiculous. So it becomes a big slog, and then the day after and stuff like that. So if it's not friendly to me, Monday evening kickoff. But respect to everybody that goes to the game. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think it's even worse when United are playing on a Monday down at Bournemouth or something like that. The travelling fans have to set off. It's almost in a different bloody time zone when they're going down there. But I think United need to push on. I know that they had a couple of draws before the international break, but I think back at Old Trafford, fans have been starved of watching them this season because obviously we've only got the league games to enjoy that at Old Trafford at the moment. They need to produce, and I think it's one of those games like even a scratchy 1-0. Do you know what I mean? They'll take it because it's just all about points now. I know we talk about the fact that Ruben Amorim needs every game's a must-win game, but when it comes to teams like Everton at home, you have to be putting these teams to bed because you need to be able to show that United is a fortress again. Old Trafford is a fortress again, and you need to be able to move up the table. And all those teams that are in and around, like I said, it's very congested in terms of the points that separate in the top to the bottom. You have to show that when you come into Old Trafford, you're not going to get an easy game. It's going to be difficult, and you're probably going to be up against it. We showed that against Arsenal in the opening day of the season, and I know that we lost that game. But that Old Trafford needs to be so important to Manchester United, and we just can't afford to lose those games at home anymore. It doesn't matter who turns up. You got to win those games at home. So I'm expecting a big performance from Manchester United. Whether or not, as we talked about before, that side is led by Joshua Zirkzee, I do not know. But I think United should win that game.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the squad, Everton. The forwards are quite poor, being kind to the likes of Beto and Barry. So I'd like us to be playing in their half, let them play on the counter-attack. They've been beaten by Spurs, beaten by City. They seem to do all right in the home games at the new stadium, Everton. So I think going away from home, they'll have a big atmosphere. This is a very winnable game for United. So I'm expecting a comfortable 2-3 now.
Oof, big. I will take it. I'll take a 1-0. I'll take a 1-0.
Yeah. I'd take it, but I expect a performance from United. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. I think even though the people that are paying for those tickets, like you said, it's a slog to get there. They want to be entertained. So I don't want to see an entertaining 3-2 win for Manchester United. I'd rather it was just 1-0. Everton completely blunt because United have stopped them at every juncture, and maybe a Matthias de Ligt header at the end of the first half just to get us over the line. So I'm gonna say 2-0. Actually, I'm gonna go 2-0 for United. FPL pick. Who you picking?
Oh, let's throw Joshua Zirkzee in there. Go on, chuck him in.
Oh, that is a wild card shout that
Love
I'm
it.
not
I love a
convinced
wild
by.
card.
That is a huge one. I mean, I'm going with Brian and Mbumo again because he's the favourite for it. But I think you could probably go with the defender in this game. I don't think United will concede. I think you could go with the defender in this game and get some cheeky points off a pick that isn't picked by a lot of other people. So yeah, you could do that. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-0. You're saying what, 3-0?
I'll go 3-0. Yeah, do it. Go on, United.
Let's dip into the Gummers mailbag then, mate. Get it open.
Right, this is from young Jaden. He's unsealed the package.
Sancho.
This is from young Jaden. He's put well,
Sancho.
there's 2 questions in one. Sancho.
Yeah, Jadon Sancho. Is that who this is?
Oh,
Is he that bored
no,
that
no,
he's having
it's,
to message Manchester United podcast now?
He's better than Jadon Sancho, is this lad? We played against him on Monday. Had a good wrestle. Good stuff. I'll put the both in what he put. Do we keep Old Trafford or rebuild the stadium? What's your options? And where's Cropper's transfer corner? 2 questions
No,
in one.
We need to bring it back. I mean, we're not too far away from Cropper's transfer corner coming back.
Yeah.
We're not
I
too
thought
far
December.
away from that.
We'll
Yeah.
reintroduce it
I
in
mean,
December, yeah.
I mean, I actually thought that it could probably have come back today, but because we started the show off talking about transfers, so
Yeah.
maybe next week. Maybe next
Yeah.
week.
I'll have a
Bring it
nosy.
back.
Takes me.
The fans demand
I'll get
it.
the overtime sheet in. Get that in there.
There we go. Don't get paid for that either. So there's I think I would prefer to keep Old Trafford, and the only reason why I say that is and rejuvenate it. The reason why I say that is because I feel like it keeps that connection to the past. You see a lot of teams kind of move to new stadiums and they lose their soul. You look at West Ham moving from Upton Park and going to the London Stadium, and it's a joke. The atmosphere is completely dead. And teams go there, rock up, and it's like, we'll take a few points because there's nothing intimidating about it. Old Trafford still has that connection to the past, and I know I'm an old romantic when it comes to saying stuff like this, and time does progress, and we do have to evolve and create these huge multi-purpose stadiums, but I just think moving on from Old Trafford, going to some soulless Ineos arena, I just think it just loses a bit. It'll be for tourism more than anything else. And I'd prefer to kind of keep a connection to the past. But that's just me.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, to be fair. If the option is either or, going to Old Trafford just different. It's just an experience. Every time I go, even there've been quite a lot of times, every time you walk up and you see the grass, it just makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up every single time. The atmosphere. I understand the business model of we need to build a new stadium because it is falling to bits. Old Trafford, it is, there's a leaky roof, etc. But you state the likes of Arsenal when they moved, Spurs, Everton. Obviously, Everton's a different situation because it seems like they've got a good atmosphere there. I understand that you need to move with the times, but as a football fan, as with the history that we've got there, it just wouldn't be the same, would it? We all know it wouldn't be the same. I know that they've got this NFL model of, they're looking at like was it Las Vegas? They've got a new stadium. Is it the Allegiant Arena or something like that then? And that's the kind of stadium that they want, this massive thing. And but that's not for us. That's not for us, is it? That's for the tourists. And also, NFL's different where it's a franchise. They've not got the soul of Manchester United there, that we've been there for years and it can never be moved. It's a different way of thinking. And surely it's cheaper. Surely it's going to be half the price as well, just to be like, no, we'll do this to Old Trafford, and then can you not add on another concert or something on the side?
I think that's the issue is that the area around Old Trafford cannot be extended due to the railway lines and the canal and things like that. So it's obviously an option that they've explored, but they can't knock down, for example, Lou Macari's Chippy or the houses that are surrounding it. Do you know what I mean? They can't do that. So I get it from a logistical point of view, what they need to do with it. But for me personally, just answering that question, I would prefer to keep Old Trafford and maybe do it up a little bit more. But I do understand that we do need to move with the times. I've got a little questionnaire that came in on the email, fergiesgunpodcast@gmail.com. If you are wanting to send us a question, or send it direct to Cropper's phone on WhatsApp. I won't give out your number though, mate. So Damo says, United have 8 games between now and 2026. Out of a possible 24 points, how many do you expect United to get? And I'll read you the list now. It's Everton at home, Palace away, West Ham at home, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home, and then Wolves at home. And that's between now and January 1st. Out of 24... should we go? We'll go through them. So Everton at home.
Win.
Okay.
Home win.
Win. Palace away.
Point.
Point. Draw. Okay. Then we've got West Ham at home.
Win.
Okay. Wolves away. Got a new manager,
Win.
remember?
Yeah. And we've just taken their midfielder. Yeah.
Yeah. Bournemouth at home.
Win.
Okay. Aston Villa away.
Win.
Newcastle at home.
Win.
And Wolves at home.
Win. Go into that game as well. Definite win if Cropper's there.
Right, that's good. The Wookiee mascot. So out of a possible 24, you are saying we will get 22 points out of all of those.
That's what
I think
confidence
that's-
gets you.
But I also think that is the expectation. Surely it is. Manchester United have any aspirations to be playing in Europe next year or climbing the table, they've got to win those games. And we've had a really, really difficult run of games that I think we've come out of the other end of now. We had Everton, we had Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea. We've had Brentford away, which is always a tricky game to go to, as proved. With that lineup of fixtures there is winnable. All of them are winnable. All of those games are winnable. It just depends whether or not United have the legs to carry it through. So I'm going to agree with you. I would say, if I'm trying to be, create a bit of conversation between the two of us to go against the grain slightly, I'd say though that Newcastle and those Villa games could be draws. So I reckon we're looking at maximum 18, 19 points, I reckon, out of that. That's what I'm saying.
Can't disagree. Win your home games, United. Do that.
Yeah, do that. Right, that's it. That's everything for today's Fergie's Gun podcast. It was not short and sweet. It was still sweet, but it was perfectly adequate. That's what I always tell myself. Yeah, perfectly adequate. It's absolutely fine. Right. If you do want to sign up for our free newsletter that goes out every week, then you can go to fergiesgumpodcast.com. We've also got all of our social links on there. So Instagram, and we've got our podcast links on there. Although, as I say, every week you're already listening to it. How have you not subscribed? So it would be weird if you didn't. But on the YouTube and on our social media, you actually get to see our faces as well. So,
See the
worth
bobby
signing up for. Worth signing up for just to see Paul's bobble hat that he wore today. Who was the lad from not EastEnders, Emmerdale, that always used to wear a bobble hat? Was it Marlon Dingle?
Yeah, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I was trying to remember all podcasts that you reminded me of, and there we go. Marlon Dingle. It's even got the face. Right. Thanks again for listening, and we will speak to you again after the Everton game.
Oddly Domers.